Hello everyone, my name is Jake Mills. I am the founder of a national mental health charity called Chasing the Stigma, and we're the people behind an app and a resource called the Hub of Hope. You may have seen the Hub of Hope on this app. It's a signposting tool to make it easy for people to find help and support with their mental health. I'll talk to you a little bit about that. I'm a dad of two. I have a 4.5-year-old son and a 8-month-old daughter. So, really enjoying lockdown at the moment. Great. I founded Chasing the Stigma and run Chasing the Stigma myself with a team of, we're only a relatively small team, but we've got big plans and we're doing a lot of good work. So what I kind of thought I would do is I'd give you a little bit of background about myself and where we've come from. I'm happy to open it up to questions if I can work out how that happens. I don't know if they just come up on screen. And yeah, just open it up to conversations really. So the reason why I run Chasing the Stigma and created Chasing the Stigma was not from a mental health background at all. I haven't ever studied mental health. I don't have a degree in that. I created the charity because of my own personal experience of living with depression without really knowing anything about that. I didn't ever think I'd be somebody who would be depressed. I don't think I really knew what depression was. I was just a normal lad living a normal life. My background's in stand-up comedy, so I was just performing across the country, in comedy clubs across the country, stand-up, and really without knowing anything about it, I started to develop signs and symptoms of depression. And I think kind of being a man really, bottled it up, and I didn't really seek help for it. I tried to kind of find solace in drink or other kind of vices really, self-medicating if you will, and I used that as a way to kind of escape and run from everything that I was going through, because I didn't really know what it was. I didn't really reach out to any friends or family. They probably knew that things were going on, but I didn't really know the extent of it, and that would get me into different situations and altercations. It got me into fights, and it got me into a fight one day with a bouncer, and it was because of that. It's a close fight, believe me, but I ended up in hospital and he didn't, and it was because of that that I actually I said I was going to sue the club and the bouncer, and it's because of that I got offered counselling. I don't think I ever would have took counselling. I don't think I ever would have gone looking for counselling before that. And I think I took it, or I was offered it because they thought it would help with my case. And I took it because I thought maybe something's wrong here. And I don't think if it wasn't offered to me on a plate, I don't think I ever would have accepted or reached out for help. Long story short, it didn't really necessarily work that well for me, because in my head I thought I had two options. One was counselling, one was antidepressants. And in the counselling session, I was talking for 20 minutes, and I was opening up about things that I'd never talked about before for about an hour or so. For about 20 minutes, but it was an hour that you're meant to have, where you're going in, you're doing a questionnaire, you're sitting waiting around, 20 minutes talking to somebody, and it just wasn't enough. It just was not enough for me. And this is the only person I was ever talking to, and I was talking to her about things I'd never talked about before, and I was leaving often feeling worse than when I went in, because I had to kind of deal with everything that I just opened up about. And so what I tried to do then is just lie. I lied to the counsellor, I lied to my family, I lied to my girlfriend, I lied to absolutely everyone. And I became such a good liar that I was discharged as fit and healthy. And at that point, as I said, I thought they were the only two choices that I had, was medication or counselling. And the medication was just making me put weight on. I didn't feel like it was helping me. And the counselling had just been discharged as fit and healthy. So at that point I thought, you've got no choices. You're in this on your own. You've tried everything that's on offer and it's not worked. So I tried to do what people tell you to do. I tried to cover it up. I tried to exercise. I tried to take up hobbies. I tried to spend time with family. I tried to do work and just live a normal life. I tried to just get on with it. I tried to man up. And what a surprise, none of them work. And I left work one day and I thought, I can't go on like this. And so for the first time ever, I had a thought that said, kill yourself. And I'd never, ever, ever had that thought before. I did never think that I would be somebody who would have that thought. But it made sense to me from every single angle. I thought about it from family's angle. I thought about it from friends. I thought about my mum. I thought about my girlfriend. I thought about the life that I'd be leaving behind, the life I'd never achieved. But it made sense. It made absolute sense from every angle, because I thought, I am never going to get better. I am just a waste of time to my family. I'm a waste of space and waste of energy to everyone I love the most. And for me, it wasn't a selfish thought. It was a selfless thought. I was thinking about them and they were the reason why I was doing it. Obviously, I'm still here, so I wasn't very good at that. But it wasn't through lack of wanting trying. One of the things that I really struggled with when I was depressed was the one thing I wanted more than anything in the world was to be a dad. That's what I always wanted. It's what I always kind of dreamed of having, was a family of my own. And when I was depressed, and the kind of combination of depression and anxiety and that mixed together, it convinced me, absolutely convinced me, that I would never be able to be a dad, that I would never be able to be capable of looking after somebody. I was convinced that I couldn't even look after myself. I couldn't protect myself. And how could I possibly look after a child? And that's the cruelty of it, is that the one thing, that biggest insecurity, and it just magnified it and magnified it, and the one thing I wanted, it just took it away from me. So I decided to try and take my own life. No, I was found before it was too late. I was visited by the police, who let me down, the doctors let me down, the paramedics let me down. Every single aspect of it, I was let down. I was left alone with no offers of help and support. And so I thought, you're in this on your own. It can only go one of two. It can go one of two ways. It can go back the way it was, or I can turn this around. I can try every single thing I possibly can do to get myself better. Now, the biggest turning point for me was that failing a suicide attempt was the biggest turning point, because suddenly from that event, everybody knew. My girlfriend, my family, my parents, my friends, everybody knew. I couldn't hide from it anymore. And actually that was the one thing that I just couldn't do before that. I couldn't talk to them. I couldn't tell them how I was really feeling. And suddenly I had no choice now. And do you know what? They didn't know what to do. My girlfriend, my family didn't know what to do. But what they did say was that they will work with me, that they will find a way through. And we did. As I said, I was let down by everybody from a medical point of view. But just having that support around me and to work it out together was the turning point. I decided to speak out about what I'd gone through. And as a result, my story got picked up. It got picked up in the local press, and then it got picked up in national press, and then it went viral. It was being shared by people like James Corden and Emma Watson, going right around the world to tens of millions of people. And what happened is every single time I'd done an interview on television or radio or anywhere, people coming to me asking me for help. People coming to me asking for help for themselves. People coming to me asking for help for the dad or the husband or the best friend. And I realised how many people were going through this at the exact same time, feeling like they're the only ones. And I done that. And it's only because I spoke about it publicly that I suddenly had my eyes open to how many people were going through it. And it was something, that's what I wanted to change. So you might know some of the figures about suicide in particular, and suicide, the biggest killer of men under the age of 45 in the UK. But it's not just a male issue. Biggest killer of mothers with an under 1 year old. Biggest cause of death in young people. And over 200 school children took their own lives in 2018. So it's a serious problem, but we fundamentally believe that suicide is preventable. But if we're going to make any difference about it, we've got to do things differently. And that's where we wanted to come in. We didn't want to be this charity person and whatever people think charities are. I didn't want to come in and be lecturing, which ironically I think I might be doing now. But I didn't want to be lecturing to people and using language that people don't understand. I didn't want to be talking about statistics. Again, I've just done that. But I didn't want to be talking about statistics and figures and graphs and all this different stuff and academic stuff and research. I wanted just to speak like a person, because that's all I can be. I can't really claim to be anything more than that. And when we, not too long ago, I had a look on the mental health channel on this app, and there's some amazing things happening on there. But there was one not long ago, and it stuck out to me, because it was somebody posted and said, what do you think about mental health? I don't believe it's real. I don't believe in mental health. We've all got difficulties in our lives, and I don't believe in mental health. And it stuck to me, because why it stuck out to me was because I think that's exactly the problem, is that people, what's that say? Please ask Jake any question. Oh, it's not to me. That's exactly the problem, is because people think mental health is mental illness. And it's not. So absolutely everyone in the world has mental health. We've all got mental health, just like we've all got physical health. And just like with our physical health, it can go up, it can go down for different reasons. But if you've got a brain, you've got mental health. So to say that you don't believe that mental health is real is an absolute nonsense, because it is. If you are thinking, if you are talking, if you are breathing, you have mental health. Now, the other point is what the person meant was that they don't believe that mental illness is real, which again is nonsense, but let's talk about it. Every single person in the world has mental health, and there will be different things in our lives that will affect our mental health. And the easiest way to think of it is like a spectrum. Hopefully everybody is positive and healthy with their mental health, but there will be things in life that affect your mental health. And that can take you from being healthy to maybe you're coping, to maybe you're struggling, to maybe you're becoming unwell. And that is the point where mental illness comes in. Before all that, there's 3 different significant steps before that can affect your mental health. It doesn't mean that you're mentally unwell. It just means that your mental health isn't as good as it would be if it was 100%. I don't think anybody is living in 100%. And there'll be different things that are happening that will affect your mental health. And now is the perfect example. Right now, as a dad, trying to work with 2 kids, my mental health is not where it should be. Stress, anxieties, worries about going out, worries about jobs, worries about money, worries about relationships. Our relationships are really being tested right now. Relationships with your partner, with your kids. That's all going to affect your mental health. But it's in those moments and it's in those points where you are struggling or coping is where we can be getting that work done. And what we need to stop doing is waiting and not asking somebody, even if we're worried, if they're okay, or even if it's ourselves, and reaching out for that help and support until we get to that crisis point. Because at that crisis point, it's not necessarily too late, but it's certainly going to make things a lot harder. If we're talking about our mental health and we're looking after our mental health in the same way that we do with our physical health, and we're looking at it at an earlier stage, then that's how we can make a difference. And that's how we can all be mentally healthy. So with that in mind, we created the Hub of Hope. So for people in the UK, if anybody on this app has ever tried to get any mental health support, certainly via the NHS, you probably will have been put on a waiting list. And in this country, people are often waiting on waiting lists for up to 18 months for help and support, particularly in children's services. And we just sit there because we think that that's all we can do. We think that's our only options, and it's not. But I didn't know that. So when my story went public, I put out an appeal. I said, if you offer mental health support, tell me who you are. And what I'll do is I'll try and collate that information together in one place. I'll make that as easy as possible for you to find. And that turned from an Excel spreadsheet to now the UK's biggest and most comprehensive mental health signposting tool. It's a free app, it's a free website. I say it's on this app anyway. And what it will do, it will use your location to pinpoint the nearest local support to you wherever you are in the country. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to show people the alternative support. Because there's loads of support. There's loads of support. There's tens of thousands of options across this country. It doesn't have to be NHS waiting list. And whilst you're on a waiting list, you can be going and finding help from somewhere else. If you're going to a counselling surgery like I did, you're going to counselling and you're leaving feeling worse, you don't have to just wait. You don't have to just wait until next week, because that's not the only person you can talk to. You can reach out to other services, other people, phone lines, text lines, groups. Like I started to learn about, I'm from Liverpool and an Everton supporter, and I'm aware of the amazing work that Everton and the community do. And just an afternoon with them, I could see there's, for example, a mental health football league up and down this country of people who come together just to play football. They've got their own mental health problems. They've either been depressed, been suicidal, they're currently depressed, going through different things. But they just come together and play football, but they create that environment of people and that network, that support network. And they're up and down the country. They're the type of support where we can go, we can get people in. Now, your mental health as dads is always going to be tested. And up until the back end of 2018, meant the mental health of new dads and postnatal depression was completely overlooked by the NHS. And new dads were not really asked about their mental health, particularly when being visited by sorry, I'm getting text. Particularly when being visited by health visitors. I don't know about anyone on this app, but certainly with my son, so 4.5 years ago, when the health visitor came out, the only advice that I was being given was like, put the kettle on or give your wife a foot rub. There's nothing about me, there's nothing about my mental health, there's nothing about how you getting on. But with my daughter, who's 8 months old, when the health visitor came out, she asked me. But it's about just being able to get that more widely known. Because often as dads, we're the people who are having to just take 2 weeks off work and go back and just expect life to just be normal. The questions that we're always getting is just about, how's your partner, how's the baby? It's not about us. So that's what we're trying to do. Not only have we got the Hub of Hope, but we've got a training program called the Ambassadors of Hope. And we're going into organisations where we're training everybody and we're trying to point out these things and say the old way of doing things is not working. So let us point it out. Let us kind of look at your policies and help you talk to your staff and to each other. I'm kind of one of the problems that I think that we're having. By the way, if you do, I'll just talk. So if you do have any questions, do just ask them. I think they just come up on here. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to fire them through. But yeah, what we wanted to do is we wanted to go into organisations and train everybody, because one of the problems that I see and what I'm a little bit tired of is that the advice that's generally out there is talk to someone. But what we're not really asking is, what about if you do talk to someone, what happens then? And if someone came to you asking you for help, whether that's your son or your daughter or your best mate or your wife or your colleague or anyone, what would you do? Because it's more than just talking. It's more than talking. It's actually looking at the support and the networks and the steps to take if somebody was to ask you or somebody was to talk to you. ITV have got a campaign at the moment where they're like stopping for a minute and saying, talk. What's that doing? So it's actually about equipping people with the knowledge. And just to have the Hub of Hope as an example, having it on your phone and being aware of it. So if anyone is ever struggling, you can show them, say, look, there's the help and support. On the Hub of Hope, we've got a text service as well. So anyone in the UK can text HOPE to 85258. That's HOPE to 85258. And you can receive free confidential support any time of the day, any day of the week, any day of the year. It's free, it's confidential, and it won't show up on phone bills. But it's just support for somebody at the end of a text. It's giving people options. It's letting people know that support that's out there. And what we've been able to do, and what we've been able to create from a kitchen table, is now the biggest and most comprehensive mental health signposting tool in the UK. So now we have NHS, we have public health, we have all the major organisations coming to us and wanting the Hub of Hope. It's now being used by the likes of Samaritans and Mind and Calm, emergency services, prison services. And it's a simple idea, but you know what? Sometimes that's all it takes. There's somebody just to do the simple idea, the simple thing. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It doesn't have to be something that takes a lot of money. It's just something that has a starting point. And that's what we've been able to do. And I have to say, I've said before that when I was depressed, the thing that I couldn't cope with was the idea of not being able to be a dad. And now I've got 2 kids. No matter how bad things seem, no matter how impossible they might seem, no matter how dark it is, no matter how many mistakes you've made, how many lies you've told, anything, it's never as bad as you think. And there's always a way through it. I've got a question here, but I can't really see it. It's dead weird, so I'm weird. Struggling at the moment, find myself doing... This is sorry that you're going to have to just watch me read. Trying to support my wife, my kids, and I feel happiness, motivation fading. Have you got any advice how to get my positivity back? Any advice would be amazing. I mean, do you know what? In all honesty, I think if you were to ask me that question 2 months ago, the answers would have been completely different. And you know what? It's hard. It's really hard right now. And I suppose the biggest piece of advice I can give you is being honest. It's being honest with your wife, but it's being honest with yourself, and it's being realistic. It's being kind to yourself without that sounding like a wanky things. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to swear in this, but it's being honest with yourself to say, this is the realistic situation that we're in. This is what I can and can't do. I'm dead aware that I can hear my kids screaming. I would say right now, I don't know if you say, Dave, if you're working from home, it's important to get out. And I know there's kind of rules and restrictions about how much we can be getting out. But I went to Aldi the other day on my own, and it was like the best hour of my life, because I was able just to be on my own, and I haven't been on my own for ages. I try to go out, I try to run, I try to exercise as much as I possibly can, but that works for me. It might not necessarily work for everyone. But if you are working from home, I would say one of the biggest things is having a cut off between home and work. Because when we're working at home right now in this moment, we're dealing with everything in the same place where we relax and we eat our food and spend time with our kids. So if you can have a cut off, literally walking outside, walking into a different room, walking outside in the garden, anywhere, at the end of a day of work, and when you walk back through that door, you come in as you, the home life person, not work. Like anything, if you're struggling, then reach out. Use the text line, look at other support networks that are out there. A lot of services that are usually face-to-face are suddenly being able to create services virtually, so you can text a lot more organisations, or phone, or have online sessions like this. So have a look on the Hub of Hope, find the support that's out there. Don't be putting yourself under too much pressure. because you know what, most people's motivation is lacking right now. So don't be too hard on yourself. Make small steps, small targets, and give yourself credit. Give yourself the credit for the small steps that you are taking and the things that you're achieving. Because being able to achieve anything right now in the current environment that we're living in is good. It's really good. So give yourself that credit for that. And yeah, just reach out for that help and support. I know it's not that many of us, but if there's any other questions, I'm happy to take it. I'm just going to double check my emails just in case anything's coming through. But yeah, I would just say, if I was to give any advice based on my own experience, it's the honesty. It's the honesty of speaking to each other, speaking to my wife, speaking to my parents, my family. The thing that I didn't mention actually, so my girlfriend at the time, who actually pulled me out of the car before it was too late, is now my wife. I did never really think that I would ever have the life that I've got now, and that's the reason why I continue to do it and to share my story and to create that network of support. But by doing it with real faces and real voices and real life experiences is the best way, I think, of getting through to people. So yeah, I don't know if there's any other questions at all. I obviously don't want to outstay my welcome here, but I'm really happy to take questions here. But also, if anyone wants to contact us, there's a link for the Hub of Hope on this app, and if you were to go on that, I think there's an option to get in touch, and you can get in touch with us, and I'm really happy to answer any questions that you might have personally. If you were to get in touch via the Hub of Hope, then it will come through to me anyway. And yeah, if there's no other questions, I'm happy to just have it. I've got a beer there. I'm just looking at it. What's that? You'll be putting the video up on the app for all users to see. Didn't realise that. I'd have tried a bit harder, but you know, we'll take it. So yeah, what I will say is that remember as dads, remember as people, we've all got mental health. Our mental health will suffer. Our mental health will go up. It will go down. Just because it's down doesn't mean it can't go up. Just because it's up doesn't mean it can't go down. There'll be things as a dad that will affect your mental health, and that is completely natural. It's completely normal. And as soon as you talk, like a lot of people are on this app, as soon as you reach out and you ask somebody, have they ever felt that way? The answer will be yeah. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it. So to reach out as early as you possibly can. You know yourself more than anyone. If you're struggling, that's all right. That's okay. If you're struggling, ask for help, because there's no difference between our physical health and our mental health when it comes to wanting to get better. We wouldn't necessarily wait until we are dying before we ask someone for help. So this shouldn't be the same with our mental health. The sooner that you ask for help, the sooner you can get help and you can get better. So just always remember that. And yeah, I'll leave that there. I don't know how you get off, but I think I pressed that. So thank you for listening. And I'm happy to do these again. Now we know what they are, how they work and everything. But just if you ever need any help, you can go on hubofhope.co.uk. You can text HOPE to 85258. And you can visit us at chasingthestigma.co.uk and we'll be able to answer any of your questions. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Be kind to yourselves. Look after yourselves. See ya.